And hello! Welcome to another reaction video, second video of this recording session, as if you care. I always feel like I have to say that for some reason, whatever. Today, so we, remember when we did Sephiroth?
Yes.
You know, One Winged Angel, we did all the three parts of that. So there were quite a bit of people on there talking about another popular song in the Final Fantasy series from one of the most popular games right before 7, Final Fantasy 6, which in America at the time was actually Final Fantasy 3. But yeah, so the song that people requested is the final theme, is the boss theme.
Right. Okay.
It's called Dancing Mad. And you gotta think about you know, the sound chips and everything. This was all done on the Super Nintendo. So,
okay.
So this game is on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So you gotta think about the sound chip at the time. It's all obviously synthesized. It's not live recordings. It's all like, you know, using the sound bit and programming and shit. Opposed to like what you can do now with games, where you can literally just put in a sound file and make it work. Obviously, there's more to that. You have to make sure that the song can loop within itself because of gameplay. You don't know how long it's gonna last, all that shit.
Yeah.
If you want to make the game good, at least. So this one's without the loops. It's just the phases.
Okay.
And it's a 10-minute piece. So.
Still 10 minutes.
Yep.
Even okay. Okay.
Again, remember, it's on the Super Nintendo. But for what they were able to do with the Super Nintendo, church bell, and just like the organ.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy does is great, but like just the feeling, like just like the rise up. Yeah, it's a really good lead into the rest of the music for sure. For some reason, that part always gives me Ganondorf's Tower vibe, like Ocarina of Time, or even Link to the Past.
Okay.
For some reason, just like how the organ, like like that scale it was using. It's not technically a scale, but whatever. I don't know. It just gives me Ganondorf vibes. I don't know why.
I don't know. I was gonna joke that when this first started, it immediately made me think of like original Mario when you like get into Bowser's castle.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Like that was, as soon as it started, that's just where my
Super Mario, like
went.
Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Like that Bowser Castle theme.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Like even using the sound, just like the SNES sound chip, like it still gives the feeling of an orchestra.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm feeling it.
Like with the limitations they had, they were still able to do what they needed to. That choir sound.
Yeah. They always find a way to sneak it in.
Oh yeah. It just adds something to the piece, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, shit gets amped up.
Right. All right.
And then this entire piece has like that motif. It will always go back to that, like that organ, no matter what part of the piece. Certain parts of this piece definitely have different feelings than others. Because just like a lot of RPGs that have phases, it really wants to have you a feeling of each phase, but still having it be connected to like the main sound of that piece.
Right.
So like it amps up, and then it still brings you back to that that organ that we started off with. This is definitely the second phase.
Yeah, kind of like a spooky carnival, like circus type.
A little bit
thing.
Also, they do really something interesting with that part, where like talking about the spookiness, like the choir that it was just hitting is off. Like if you think of like how like the notes would be placed in the track, it's off center to the beat, so giving like almost like a call and response. So
anytime you
let me go back 10 seconds.
Anytime you put something off than everything else, it already gives you like that eerie.
Yeah, it's very
feel.
Uncanny. Very uneasy, because you're expecting a certain sound, and then once the song goes away from that, you're like, oh fuck.
Right.
Which this song does a lot. Like there's a very there's a lot of moments of deceiving. Which is like an actual like musical term, but there's like this piece has a lot of like it takes you on a ride, but it takes left turns every now and then to deceive your ears a bit. Oh shit, that's not what I was expecting. Now I'm a little fucked up. With it being a final boss battle type thing.
makes sense.
So I went back 10 seconds. Yeah. You hear what I'm talking about? But they still meet up at the end.
Yeah.
And then that rolling snare at the back.
Boss battle, for sure.
Oh yeah. Like whatever composers they get for Final Fantasy, because I know there's been like a couple, like they know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
Like not like with boss battles, they're really good with battle music or just like emotional music. Like, by the way, not spoilers. I'm just talking about music. But I am going to be talking about Final Fantasy 16 for a hot second. So I just beat Final Fantasy 16 last night. And how they use the Final Fantasy main theme, which is great that they bring back themes from older games, like the Final Fantasy main themes from like the very first game, but and like in like the title scenes and stuff like that. But even Final Fantasy 16, a game 30, 40 years later, still like bring that back. But like how they use it, they have a couple of arrangements in it, and it really like, because it, especially for Final Fantasy fans that are like it's familiar to them, like that piece of music, like it, and then how it's used in certain scenes and how it's made, like really heightens up the scene and makes you feel more things than you would have initially. music's so powerful, and the people at Square Enix, no matter the quality of the game or what people say the quality of the game is,
The music's
the music is like always grander. Yeah.
Yeah.
It always fits the spots that they're in or the pieces. And this is no different. Yeah. So this is definitely like this is boss battle music for sure. Which I think it's. I mean, I like most of the song is in minor instead of major, which gives it the creepy vibe, or like the evil vibe. But I just for some reason I just love how a church organ tends to be used for those feelings.
Yeah.
Like the irony of that.
Right. That's true.
Like
yeah,
because like you when you think of like that type of sound, you think of a temple or a church, but also that tends to be connected to like evilness.
Right. I was gonna say like evil and dark, which is
like corrupt priests or demons or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But for some reason, like a church organ, like it being in minor just automatically makes that feel, but it feels more evil than if you put like a flute, like you play minor notes on a flute,
right,
opposed to minor notes on a church organ, has that evil vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You expected it a second time. And then I talked about just about major chords just now. Now I just was talking about them using minor chords. Now it sounds more uplifting because now they're using major chords. Mm-hmm. And so it's a probably like, again, I haven't played Final Fantasy VI in fucking ever, but like the part of the battle that is like, more uplifting, I guess, before like shit gets real.
Well, yeah, based on like the timing of the song, we're like halfway through, so you're probably getting like like maybe I got this, like here we are.
Yeah, and it really changes the piece because then like this is an orchestra classical piece, so it's very dynamic. But like having it go from like all these like evil dark minor stuff to it being a major, more lighthearted stuff, and then eventually it's just gonna hit you back with.
I was gonna say it's just a matter of time until we get smacked back down. But...
Yeah, but like this part, just switching it to major chords instead of minor, like feels uplifting.
Yeah.
Now this just straight up sounds like church music.
Yeah. No more scary organ.
Yeah. But see, now I don't know if you notice. I'll go back 10 seconds, but like you can even hear the transition. Like if you imagine this being played on an actual piano, which these composers they have to translate it to digital for like the SNES and stuff like that. But these composers do play these songs like on actual instruments before they convert it to Super Nintendo sound chips and shit.
Yeah.
So if you imagine like if somebody's just playing an organ. The left hand is playing a lot of the major shit right now, but then you start hearing the right hand is going to start playing minor chords, and they kind of clash, but in a way where it still sounds good, but it giving you that slight uneasy feeling before they go back to just going straight like dark again. So that it's like they go all light, then there's a mix, and then they're eventually going to go back to the dark. So I know like the major chords are like up front, but try to listen for the left hand doing the darker stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's just the single notes.
Yeah. Oh no.
Which this part of the music is more powerful too, because you take away all the instruments that were being used before, like no choir, no drums, no nothing. It's just the organ by itself.
Yeah.
Where almost like it gives you that feeling of just like walking into like a temple, or like going back to Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, spoiler, the ending is literally like once you get into the part where Ganondorf he's literally playing a fucking organ.
Right.
So like giving you that feel of just like it's just you and the instrument, you know, or the person playing it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only part about this piece that I don't like is that
how there's just a hard
that phase specifically, like it fades out the church organ opposed to like having it transition to the next phase. That's like the only part of this piece.
That's like a harsh, like.
Yeah, well, it being like a harsh change is like one thing, as long as you do it well. But my main thing was like they literally just like fade it out, opposed to like it naturally going to the next section. Even if it is a harsher change, it's like it ended that piece of the song and it's like, all right, now let's go to the next piece of song.
Yeah.
So there's a slight separation between those two parts. That's like really the only part of the song that I don't like.
Yeah, so far that's
transition.
like the only issue.
I'm sure it makes sense.
Like during gameplay.
Yeah, it makes sense like in gameplay more or less, but like if you're gonna make a whole piece, like this entire piece is called Dancing Mad, I feel like it should have been. And yeah, I'm going back 5 seconds so we could catch that epicness. Which that part just reminds me of the final boss in Star Fox 64 specifically. I don't know why.
Definitely no reference to that for me, so.
Now this part's totally different. So this part in the game. So like with how, especially in fucking Final Fantasy, there's so many times in final bosses that like the main antagonist has a god complex, and then you eventually do essentially fight a god. Like even in Final Fantasy 16, like it's a JRPG thing, right? Like you end up fighting a fucking god,
right?
But in a lot of Final Fantasy games, like you are fighting the person that you think, well, that is the antagonist the entire time, and then the final phase is them either transitioning or somebody taking over into an actual fucking god that you have to now defeat.
Right.
That is like feels like it's a little bit disconnected from the original character, but still is the same character. So this part of the phase is definitely like, oh, now we're fighting God, all of a sudden. So.
Okay.
Again, most Final Fantasies do this too, like where the antagonist just turns into a god and you have to kill God. Exactly, Kat. That's super zoomed up with that sprite, but that is the sprite. So she gets a lot more
This
attack.
is so chaotic.
Yeah. we might go over it some other time. This really gives me the vibes that you get in the final boss in Final Fantasy 9 as well, which is cool, which is interesting because Final Fantasy 9 was supposed to like, because like Final Fantasy 7 and 8 were very like modern, right? Slash like sci-fi ish. You know, so you know there's vehicles and there's technology, but there's also magic and summons and shit. But Final Fantasy 9 was supposed to be like, oh well, let's go back to, you know, the like high fantasy stuff opposed to the like fantasy in modern time stuff. So I feel like that might be their inspiration. Like Final Fantasy 6 probably inspired a lot of what happened in Final Fantasy 9. Mm-hmm. So, and this music piece, I think, is kind of driving that home for me in my head. Yeah, fucking, yeah, chaotic, like you said.
So, yeah, so chaotic.
That bassline's doing work, though. This piece in general is just almost nostalgic. Like just how the sound is and how it's organized. It's so Final Fantasy. It's so classic Final Fantasy to me. Like, cause like you don't like past the PlayStation 1 era, Final Fantasy music changed. It's still all really good, amazing orchestra stuff, and still motifs from like the rest of the series come by, especially like the prelude and the theme. But it definitely changed. Like, I don't think like the feeling here is not anywhere in past 10. Like, you know, like once you get to Final Fantasy 10, it's definitely a different feel. So this,
okay.
I don't know, just the feeling of this is just like slight nostalgia to me.
Yeah, gotcha.
This piece of the song specifically.
Plus, it just overall like this sound, like you said, is for that time frame.
Yeah.
Of games, so that might help with it also.
Yeah, just like the sound chip
gives you
itself.
That general feel.
Yeah. Yeah, so the chaos then ending up meeting with just like very straightforward, like again going back to the organ stuff, really like giving that like the duality of the situation here. Like yeah, like shit gets intense and things are chaotic, but then there's like still like a sense of like groundedness eventually.
Right.
And again, like really driving home the whole like God thing. Like,
right.
I have become a god, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Plus, we are getting closer to the end of that song, so I feel like it makes sense to me to be like, all right,
like this is the resolve. Yeah.
Right. I like this.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's like very resolved.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that SNES laughed.
Interesting.
And then yeah, that is Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI.
Okay. Overall, I really like it, except for I mean, I know that's the whole point, but that chaotic part is just so... Because it's so different from everything else.
It is a little jarring, but like what you said, that is kind of the point of the battle. Like that's why even like whoever uploaded this changed the image from the Final Fantasy VI logo to the actual like boss that you're fighting at that moment, because it is definitely different. Yes.
So I mean, picturing it gameplay wise, like it seems like it's probably really good.
So I kind of want to go over this just so you could understand what I'm feeling with that. So I'm going to pull up the final battle music from Final Fantasy IX.
Okay.
So just to give you a feeling, this is from a PlayStation 1 game at the very end of the PlayStation 1's life cycle. Because when games used to be actually made decently quick, you had Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 all on the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
And 9 was at the very end of the PlayStation 1's life cycle, so it has a different sound chip, but it still, like for me, gives the feeling of, like the same feeling that 6 gave.
Okay. This is super creepy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, like what you mean by, you know what I mean by like the, you know, like the creepy organ going, and this is obviously going to lead up to something.
Yeah. Like basically like the screams of the damned, right?
Like going like in the background, which kind of helps the definitely part of the context of the final battle. Like definitely works. It's like I have the image of the final boss in my head.
Yeah.
Right now. Fuck this fight, by the way. Yes. So yeah, this part gives me the same feeling as like that end section of Dancing Mad as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, this boss fight music definitely is just like hard the entire time. Now, like this is going off of so the battle right before this has mostly Kuja's theme, which is a slower, more sinister theme. But once Kuja gets fucked up, and then God comes by and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna end the world." By the way,
by the way,
it goes from Kuja's theme, which is very like slow and dark, to transitioning into this chaotic piece once God comes through. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But like this piece definitely doesn't give you time to breathe. It's just
yeah.
goes real hard. Especially the drums there.
It's wild.
And actually, like, this piece is a lot more synthy than... It's not just a straight orchestra like One Winged Angel or Dancing Mad is. It has a lot more, like, synth to it. But I think it's still, like, accompanied with the boss fight that is there. Like, the type of god that you're fighting in this scenario. It fits. Especially the chaotic nature. Like, it's also, like, definitely something you weren't, like, expecting to happen either. Like with, like, Sephiroth, you know he's, like, striving to, you know, he has a god complex, and he's trying to, you know, mix himself with Genova, because he has Genova cells and all that bullshit. But Kuja going from fighting Kuja, finally, to this is a lot more jarring. And I think this piece really fits that.
Yeah.
Which, once we finish Kingdom Hearts 3, we're going to this game, by the way.
Starting with this one? Starting with 9?
We're not playing all the Final Fantasies. That'd be asinine.
Right.
And this, I think Final Fantasy 9 is just... It's my favorite Final Fantasy.
So it's like a good starting point?
Also, like, just nostalgia-based, but also, like... It's a good middle ground. It's an active time-based. So it's a turn-based RPG, but instead of it just being you go, me go, you go, me go, it actually, like, every character has speeds, and so they go at different times depending on how fast that their bar fills up. And so it's my favorite turn-based Final Fantasy, story-wise and gameplay-wise. Once Final Fantasy started going action, like, I kind of separate the two, even though, yes, they're still 100% Final Fantasy games. It's still a very different gameplay style. Like 15 and 16 are 100% action RPGs opposed to turn-based. So it's hard to compare the two. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to turn-based RPGs, Final Fantasy 9 is my favorite. So that's why we're going to be playing. If there's one Final Fantasy game that we're going to play on stream, it's going to be 9.
Okay.
Which, by the way, it's all text boxes, so we're going to have to, like, read them and, like, voice act. Oh, boy. So
okay.
That'd be fun to, like, voice act them or whatever. Yeah, back to the moans of the dam.
So weird, yeah. Like running around during boss fight, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like what's the, like walking around waiting to see, like, what his formula is, you know?
Oh, yeah,
like,
just, like, his pattern. Like,
yeah, like,
pattern.
this is, this is the part where I can like picture myself just like walking around like, okay, what is it you do? So I know not to do that, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely different in turn-based games, but I definitely get what you're feeling for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not real familiar with that style of games.
Turn-based?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, just imagine like Dungeons and Dragons almost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but opposed to having like the RTS formula where you actually move around on the map. It's literally just like you are in your position, they're in their position, and then you have to, choose your moves ahead of time and try to, do what's best for that situation. So you got attacks, you got magic, and you got items that you could use, and each person has their own special stuff. Some Final Fantasy games have classes, so each player can just choose a different class. Other Final Fantasies like this one, every character is basically a type of class. So you got your soldier, you got your thief, you got your white mage, you got your black mage, shit like that.
Yeah.
So they all serve their different purposes. And then you just choose what's best for that scenario and shit like that.
Okay.
So it's active turn based. So like they do something, you do something, but yeah.
Super weird.
And then it loops back into itself.
Okay. Okay.
So this is the boss thing that I thought of when we got to that part of Dancing Mad where it started going chaotic. You said,
Yeah.
like that. It gives me the same feel.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and again, going from Kuja's battle theme to this definitely is definitely a shift. We might go through that some other time. But yeah, so I wasn't expecting to do the second song, but that's what we did. So that was the final battle from Final Fantasy IX, and the song that everybody was requesting. Not everybody, but people were requesting, Dancing Mad.
Nice.
So what is your opinions on?
I mean, I don't know. Overall, like you said, considering like the time of it, I don't know. I thought it sounded good, and being able to still add in all of those other sounds that we've heard from other newer games, like being able to still what.
It's like still giving that orchestra feel,
right?
Without
still being able to do it. Yeah, like that's really that's interesting to me. That's fun that there was still a way to do that. So honestly, when you think about it musically, that's pretty impressive to be able to still convey those feelings.
Yeah.
So.
And especially they just work as final boss themes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely different. Again, Square, whoever the composer is, definitely has done a good job. Like it's no Mario, right? Like Mario still has some good music, but it's a lot less dynamic than Dancing Mad.
Yeah.
And Zelda has again really good music and kind of pioneered some music. But I still think JRPGs definitely have a lot more to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Dancing Mad and the final battle from Final Fantasy IX. If you want to see more from us, there are links down below to the Potheads Discord and all the PlayPod stuff, because that is my main channel. This is just where we do our music stuff. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from us, subscribe. And until next time, bye.